Good afternoon. We are hopefully live in all three of our branches on Facebook. So Lakesdales and Loon. So welcome. We're going to do, it's a bit like question time, I'm going to do an election day special. Well,
we need
it's
a
not
theme
election day
tune
yet.
now, don't we? Yeah. Welcome to the election day.
Do you have a grandstand?
Just about. I remember the theme tune, not the show.
Go on then. I want to go diddler, diddler, diddler,
That's not
diddler,
it.
but I think that's the Horse of the Year show.
Yeah, it's definitely not
Or it could actually be Ski Sunday. No, because that goes diddler, 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 diddler.
Anyway.
diddler.
So, on...
2 days ago.
What day was it? On Wednesday, out of the blue, I think, Mr Sunak, the Prime Minister, announced an election on July the 4th, which is a very short period of time. Usually I think it's at least a couple of months, isn't it? 2 to 3 months.
Yes. Well, at least because they need to have a proper campaigning, like a 4 months whizzing around the country, shaking hands and patting babies on the head.
Yeah, but as they're on the back foot, I guess, he's trying to catch people on the hop and trying to...
I think it's all over for you, is she?
Trying to land the 2 days after England win in the last 16 and everyone is happy and the sun's out and students are maybe at home, away from universities.
Away from their voting booths.
Away from where they're registered to vote and hoping that he can...
Is it right that they hope for a wet day for a Tory upswing in votes and a dry day? The idea being that people who vote Labour can't afford to drive to the...
I don't know.
I think it's an old wives' tale.
Yeah, probably. We need to be clear that there's no agenda in this this live. We're just trying to give you cold facts. So
Yes.
if you feel like we're trying to guide your vote, then I apologise.
We need to do a better job if we're going to do that.
Yeah.
So there was 42 days notice. It's now 40 days on the countdown. We think he did it because he tried to, because making it so last minute was supposed to be in his favour and catching Labour on the back foot, we think. But what you really want to know is how and if it's going to affect the property market.
Yeah, and also on the 20th of June, there's likely to be, well, there is the Bank of England sit down and discuss the bank rate, and there's likely to be a reduction from 5.25% down to 5%, which they will be able to spin in a very positive frame, and they've already started. The Tories are trying to say that we're on the right path, and changing government could potentially change that. So they're saying certainty versus uncertainty is the way they're going.
Yeah, and that's a really important key thing to remember, because in any big political change, there comes uncertainty, and so that brings with it less property transactions. So less buyers, less sellers wanted to put the stake in the ground, saying I'm definitely moving no matter what, because they've no idea what's around the corner and what Rishi's going to do.
Yeah,
or what
and
going to do.
I mean, I don't remember many general elections, to be honest. But what seems...
1979 was my first that I remember. There was several before that.
I'm sure there were.
It was a big deal. It was Maggie Thatcher, and she got in at like 11 o'clock at night. I was watching on a little tiny black and white TV.
We were in Centre Park last time Boris Johnson got in.
Oh,
Yeah. What was I saying?
Yeah,
So usually, I'd imagine that the property market and properties and housing is quite high on a potential manifesto. This time, there seems to be nothing on either side. I think Labour are saying they're going to build more houses, but they say that every time. But there's nothing in terms of the market. There's nothing in terms of...
There's nothing concrete.
So
neither of them have mentioned stamp duty, have they?
No. So unless that will come out in the next few weeks, we don't really know what either side offers in terms of the impact on our business. The only thing we can do is look at historical data of the lead up to general elections and the post reaction to general elections and sort of work out what's likely to happen with it.
Well, the only person that would do that would benefit if they did pull like a stamp duty discount out of the hat is the Tories, wouldn't it? It wouldn't benefit Labour.
No, they're not going to do that, I don't think.
No, so there's nothing really else that they could do that would impact the property market that much. The only place it does impact is in the uncertainty, which then slows down property transactions. That's it.
Yeah, but they often talk about rental reform and
Yeah.
landlord taxes and other things that have a wider impact. This time it seems to be just silent.
Yeah. In fact, the rental reform bill looks like it might be stuttering a little bit in the light of the election.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we look back at the last 8 general elections and what happened on the run up to it, say 8. How long would that be? It'd be like
32 years.
Yeah.
Probably
around
all the
that.
elections in your lifetime then.
Yes. What's happened?
I probably
Tell
can't. It's as simple as the wait and see, isn't it? You've got an election coming up, you don't really know what the policies are, they haven't been transparent about the policies this time, and therefore you're going to say, as a buyer or seller, let's just put our plans on hold unless you absolutely have to move now.
For no real
Let's wait
reason, though, is
afterwards.
there?
It's just uncertainty. People don't like uncertainty. It's the same when, you've got a beautiful home with a lovely view over a field, and then there's a planning permission application put in on the field, and you'll say to us, what should we do about this planning permission? And we say, we have to wait and see, because without certainty, a buyer doesn't know what they're getting into.
Certainty and clarity are 2 things that
It's really important.
are massive.
It's a very difficult decision to move house, especially when you've lived in it a long time. Lived in a house for more than 20 years, the set of complex decision making that you've got to make, the sort of mental arithmetic and the mental obstacles is huge. So therefore, you need to have as much certainty as you can so that you know how you would overcome all those obstacles.
Yeah, so the run up to a general election, usually, I think, is it 7 out of the last 8? It's been consistent.
Yes.
Where
It's like you've read the notes.
there's a slight dip, and usually that's over a 3-4 month period.
Yeah.
So this time it'll be interesting because we've got 40 days, and certainly today and yesterday there was no notable reduction in viewings. In fact, the opposite. So it's not had an instant impact. But what is in our favour is always at the other side of the election, no matter which side it goes, blue or red, there's a sudden boost. A couple of months where people go, right, we've got a bit of clarity, we know it's going to happen, whether they're on the side or not, they decide that they want to make a move. So I'm hoping and expecting the 40 days to be a bit of a plateau. It might come down slightly, but then afterwards we'll have a little bit of a boom.
The trouble is that when things are slow, and they are relatively slow at the moment, we've got little spikes, but it doesn't take much to make them really slow. So England playing in it's not a World Cup, is it?
Euros.
In the Euros. It could be hot weather, it could be pouring down weather, it could be a general election.
In fact, the last World Cup, the market was terrible, wasn't it, during the World Cup?
Because people got other things on their mind, so they're waiting, aren't they? And it sounds ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous to put your house move on hold until after a football match, but all that's happening is you're putting your activity on hold.
I don't book a holiday during the World Cup, the Euros.
So
I actually am going on holiday, but that wasn't me.
Well, what we're hoping for is a buoyant autumn market.
Yeah, and
which happens anyway in the natural run of things. After summer, everybody's been away or been busy, and then they come back to school.
And there's another Bank of England meeting in the middle of August, or beginning of August, I think it is, where the chances are that it might drop again to 4.75. If not that time, the time after is likely to. So with the drop in bank rate, I think that should neutralise the impact of the election this side of it, and then the other side of it will hopefully we'll still get the boom with the lower bank rate and then another bank rate, and we'll all be really happy.
So if you're thinking about moving sometime this year, we think that the right time to talk to us is in the next couple of months, so you can get ready for hopefully an uptick in interest in the early autumn months, and you might even get moved for Christmas.
I'd hope so.
Anything else you want to add to that?
I don't think so.
It's kind of like no news, really, isn't it? We haven't really said much.
Well, I think the important thing is that it's never as dramatic as maybe the media make out or other places make out. There's likely going to be an impact when we look back, let's say in a year's time, we look back at the data. It's probably been a small drop. Whether we actually feel it or not will be interesting, but there's also some positivity that the other side, no matter which way it goes, hopefully we'll get a bit of a boom.
I will just tell you about this actually. Winkworth, which is an agency down in London, commissioned research earlier this year by Dataloft, which looked at price changes before and after the 6 general elections since May 1997. In the 3 months before the December 2019 election, prices increased across the UK by 4%. 3 months after the election, the price increase was just 0.7%. That same happened with Tony Blair's win in 1997 and Boris Johnson's in 2019. So that's quite interesting, isn't it?
Was that Brexit related though? Because I remember there was a good period, wasn't there?
It does mention Brexit as well, but pre-election uncertainty has a short-term impact, and this pattern holds true for 6 out of the last 7 elections.
Right.
The biggest house price, this might be interesting to you, the biggest house price growth came when Blair was in power. We saw a rise of £48 a day on the average property price, which at the time was probably about 200,000. So it's quite a lot, isn't it? £48 a day.
During his whole tenure?
Yeah, looks like it, yeah, when he was in power. Which is contrary to popular belief that the Thatcher era saw the biggest growth due to the right to buy. Interesting. Let us know your thoughts. Don't let us know who you're going to vote for. We won't let you know who we're going to vote for. But fingers crossed, we've got a bit of certainty over the next couple of months, and England wins.
England wins.
Yeah. You want England to win, don't you?
Yeah.
What?
Just the way you say England wins, it just.
And I hope that England wins.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right.
I don't normally expect you to comment on my grammar.
Well, usually, if you say you hope England are going to win, you don't say England wins. It's like when you call a goalkeeper a keeper. It just sounds wrong.
I say goalie.
Goalie, that's it. It just doesn't sound right.
So we're not allowed to talk about football.
No, you can't just get
I
it
hope
right.
England wins. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you for watching.